Gaza's health officials say 67 people have been killed and more than 300 people have been injured by the Israeli army in the last 24 hours. Israeli forces intensified strikes in Gaza City on Sunday. Airstrikes were also reported on tents, homes and the Farabi school. Well, the Israeli military also hit a fourth high-rise building in Gaza City, forcing residents to leave as part of its plans to seize the area. The Israeli Defense Forces claim the building was being used by Hamas militants but did not provide any evidence. Meanwhile, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Saar says Israel has accepted a Gaza ceasefire proposal from President Trump. On Truth Social, Donald Trump issued what he called a last warning to Hamas to accept a deal to free Israeli hostages. Hamas says it's received ideas from the United States via mediators on how to reach a ceasefire in Gaza. One other development, Spain has announced a series of measures, including an arms embargo, saying it was aimed at stopping the, quote, genocide in Gaza. The measures also include a ban on vessels carrying fuel for the Israeli military from using Spanish ports. Israel has banned Spain's deputy prime minister from entering the country. Spain has said it strongly rejects Israel's anti-Semitism accusations, saying they were false, and has summoned its ambassador in Tel Aviv for consultations. So let's go back to Jerusalem and back to Wirra. Let's take it in stages, Wirra. In terms of those discussions, what is being said about a possible ceasefire, where are we?
Well, look, the war in Gaza is intensifying. Israel has promised to send land troops, soldiers into Gaza to occupy and control Gaza on the ground, not just from the air, as we've seen in recent days. That threat is still there. The Israeli Defense Minister said this morning that there would be a tornado over Gaza. There is, though, this supposed peace plan offered by Donald Trump on the table, which could lead to a ceasefire, the release of hostages and a ceasefire agreement. Now, according to many sources, Israel says it's agreed to the terms of the ceasefire, but those terms certainly seem to have been drawn up more in Israel's favour. It calls, for example, for the release of all of the hostages at once, and it doesn't appear to give any guarantees about a long-term end to the war. What Hamas wanted was a staged release of hostages in return for a ceasefire and talks about a lasting peace. So there's still a gap between the two sides. Whether the Israelis will say we've now agreed to this Trump plan, it's up to Hamas to show they might agree to it as well. We just don't know. In the meantime, that war on Gaza is intensifying, particularly in and around Gaza City. Israel, as you saw there, has blown up another high-rise building in Gaza City in the last 24 hours. More than 60 people have been killed in Gaza during the same period. There's a humanitarian crisis there, and Israel is trying to persuade people to move south to a so-called safe zone, which itself has been attacked and where people have been killed in recent days and weeks.
And we're just one line that is emerging, the AFP news agency I was referencing a moment or two ago about some of the pressure, the diplomacy from Spain. Well, AFP are reporting that Spain has now recalled their ambassador to Israel. So bring us more on that.
Now, look, Spain and to a lesser extent France have been two of the European countries that have been most vocal, most critical about the ongoing Israeli military campaign in Gaza. They're among the countries, of course, who said they will officially recognise a Palestinian state at the UN later this month. That has severely angered the Israeli government. Israel may take its own action. Of course, there's pressure on the right wing in Israel in particular for Israel to annex whole or part of the occupied Palestinian West Bank. That is something that Israel says it might do in response to some of these moves from European countries. So there's a lot of diplomatic pressure, a lot of diplomatic tension, as well, of course, as those casualties on the ground.
Wirra Davis live for us there in Jerusalem. Thanks for all of that. Thank you.